more focus on resent from the private sector, but we need to strike the balance, not to replace government responsibilities. Okay, I will give the floor to Pablo.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests. Thank you for the opportunity to come to this wonderful country and give some thoughts from inside the industry. And today, I want to share with you what I see as a great opportunity that we have in front of us. But first, let me explain you a little story. This story happens in the place where I was born. It's in the Basque Country, in the north of Spain. There was there a local fishing community that caught a species called baby eel. In Spanish, that species is known as angulas. And it was a very highly appreciated delicatessen by the local cuisine there. But because of overfishing the species, baby eel population started to decline quite sharply. And here's where the story gets interesting. Those local fishermen decided to invest their savings and to bet on a joint venture with a Japanese company, and they decided to build a line to make a copy of this baby eel made of surimi based on Alaskan pollock raw material. They called it Lagula, which was a name very similar. They patented it. And not only they did that, but they also invested some more savings in advertising campaigns in television with very famous testimonials. The end of the story is that it created a really important sales boom. They created a big market of this copy of baby eel, and leveraging on this success and on the scale economy they had and on the retail management that they had, they continued launching new products, all based in consumer needs and all based in innovation for the consumers. So they set up what I call the innovation curve. They started from fishing to producing a product made of another species that is sustainable. Instead of overfishing a species that was not sustainable, they advertised and they continued launching products and doing more advertising. So that's the innovation curve. And this innovation is a industry that creates value in a sustainable way. And other industries, not very far from ours, have done this curve before us. For instance, in the meat industry, many companies, here you have some examples, have started from a very basic approach to consumers to more sophisticated, adding values to the consumer, adding positive values to the consumer, and launching new products. In the fruit and the vegetable industry, the same has happened. Some companies have started from a very basic product and have finished selling products in pharmacy and in nutrition retail shops. If you see the numbers of those industries and you divide between what is the primary economy, that is what you get from fishing or from harvesting, in this case, and you compare it to what we could call the secondary sector, which is more marketing and more transformation sector and a more consumer-based sector, you have, in this industry, you have a bigger sector in the marketing and retail than in the primary sector, and with a much better productivity of the workforce that is working there. In my opinion, and that's the point I want to share with you, I think we have a great opportunity in front of us. This is an opportunity for European fishing companies to become global leaders in this sector. And why I say that? Because the fact is, if the numbers are right, that we are not going to be the global industry in terms of catching or in terms of fishing. And if you see in the trends, I don't think it's going to be the case in the future. Instead, we have, for the moment, the biggest and more sophisticated consumer market in the world. It's worth $8 trillion. It's bigger than any other market in the world. And it's for the moment, because as you see in the outer ring, it's not going to be like this in the future. Probably Asian countries, Asian markets will be bigger. But now we have this market scale to develop this potential. So, why I think it's an opportunity? First of all, because opposed to what is happening in the meat and in the fruit and vegetables industry, fish is still sold very similar to the way it was sold 50 years ago. It's sold in the fish counters in the same way. And if you see, if you go to any supermarket and you see how the fruit, how the vegetables, how the meat is presented, and you go and see the fish, you will see there is a big difference in terms of the evolution that those sectors have gone through. Second, because I think it's very interesting for Europe to add, not to substitute, but to add to a primary economy, a new economy based on innovation and knowledge. Also, I think it's important to understand that acting with consumers, for consumers, and using also advertising allows to change consumer habits. And you can switch from non-sustainable species to more sustainable species, like the case I have shown you before. Also, by doing that, we create added value, and that means creating wealth. And for last, if we develop an industry and we develop it in this big market that we have, and we use the market scale that we have to create big industry champions in this sense, we can use this potential to export and to gain market shares overseas. Doing some very simple extrapolation, in my opinion, there are these value-added activities could add an 8 billion euros business for the industry, 1 billion extra EU export, and at least 100,000 new jobs for European seafood companies. In our case, our company, we have started from we are a fishing company, a very old fishing company, and we have recently started from presenting the products in a very simple way in the fish counters, developing every time more innovation. But just to give you a rough example, to do a very simple range launch with the proper marketing tools in one single country, in the way any consumer, big consumer company would do, you would need to spend and to invest a lot of money in understanding consumers, making CapEx for production setup, supermarket listing, creating consumer demand. So to do it properly, you have to invest money. So that's where we need the help from European Commission and from the governments to break these entry barriers, not to be subventionized, but to break the barriers and then to become bigger and do it by ourselves. So before innovating, step off the boat and go talk to consumers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pablo. Very, very interesting presentation. If I can extract something from your presentation is that you are in favor of subsidies. However, we need to focus on innovation and not to subsidize the production, but more on the breakthrough, the markets, and how the products can be